Chapter 6. Knowing Evan. And so, the coffee breakfast morning had become a habit, though it's not every day. It used to be every other day. The coffee shop had become our little commonplace, a corner where we can sit in silence and eat breakfast or just mule over a cup of coffee, in which I always mind a mocha, as she has suggested. It wasn't always at the coffee shop where we stay. Sometimes we go back to the park. One day, she goes beyond the farthest part of it, and I, for a moment, wasn't sure how we get back to where we started. As she shyly revealed, she didn't know that part of the park, but she liked the idea of getting lost on it. I never agreed to the idea, but I went along with it. We found a way to get back with the help of an old gardener we passed along the way, doing his daily routine. Evan shyly laughs and apologizes to the man, which the gardener only shrugged off the thing. And he taught us the way, seeing how apologetic Evan was. When we are near the coffee shop once again, she stopped in her tracks and looked up to the sky. I just watch her, still not getting used to her looking lost at things. Looking lost, even when she knows where she is. When was the last time you went out bathing in the rain? She then asked me, thoughtfully, a little later. I thought of it for a moment, only remembering a glimpse of a memory, with my brother shouting at me from his bedroom window, my mom in a hurry to get me inside, angry. It was probably the last memory I had of the rain, and I hadn't thought of it until now. I then told her how I got grounded for a couple of days. She got this sad look all over her face and said, "That's not a good memory. I don't know if you'd like to revisit that one now, but I actually wanted to ask you to get wet in the rain with me." I took a look up at the sky. It isn't raining. She stifles a little laugh, and I look out to her in curiosity. You need the rain to go out? I'm not sure where you're going with this, I said. You don't need the rain to go out, she whispered. Besides, how would you know if it's raining when you won't step out outside? She said she'll make sure that she's with me the next time it rains. We lingered on her thoughtful silence, and not so later. We agreed it's time to head back home. This all seemed like a good habit to get used to, seeing those brown eyes now and then. The next few weeks were filled with her laughter, the coffee shop, the memory of us walking endlessly on the park. I used to deny that it's morning already, that it's another day every day. But since I've met her, waking up every day feels like a privilege, other than a necessity. Until one day, she's gone from all those tables. She used to be here around 9 in the morning, but even when the time slipped into half an hour at 10, I didn't see any of her. I hadn't ordered yet. I was waiting for her to come up, walk over to my chair, and smile at me the way she used to, the gesture I already am used to. Then she would start talking about how she got up in the morning, probably how she bumped along the way with another group of kids that was asking directions. Her brown eyes would light up, her brows would join when she's anxious about something. All of the smallest things, I could watch all of them every morning. But none of that happened today. I walked to the counter and searched for the usual guy who usually serves us coffees, and I recognized the look of uncertainty in his eyes when he saw me standing there, asking where Evan would probably be. He initially shook his head, yet, on my final attempt, he told me I should go somewhere that sounded so familiar and not so familiar at the same time. He gave me directions, not that I didn't know the way around the city. He was certain she would be there on this day of the week, and he specifically asked me to go to the third floor of the facility. I wonder why he knew such a thing, why he had to deny it at first instead of letting me know right away. A part of me shivered inside when I heard where she might be, and why, with her skipping the morning coffee and all. Her eyes were running across my mind as soon as I get on the bus, glancing at the window, realizing this was the first time after so long that I had been out traveling, appreciating the sunlight, the side of the road narrowing, stretching in a mile, the narrowing again at a few blinks of an eye. Even before I know it, I was standing before a white big building, people coming in and out. A lot of people would go in than those who go out, and there are wheelchairs around, cabs filling the sidewalk. A familiar noise I know from all these times I have been admitted at one like this before in one of my multiple attempts. I walked inside and passed by more people in a hurry. People wanting to get as quickly as possible to where they needed to be. There's an open reception, and I quickly asked how to get to the third floor. The nurse pointed me to the elevator, where she told me the rheumatology department is at. My mind was running in twists as I walked out of the elevator a minute later. I looked around the hallway, and only then I calmed down when, on a glance on the side, I saw her, Evan, walking out of a room, pale and weak. I closed the distance separating us. "You're here," she whispered as I approached her. I took a deep breath, marveling at her features, the soft outline of her jaw, and her eyes that gleamed in surprise. She looks nothing like how she usually dresses whenever she's in the coffee shop, wearing a white loose skirt and a pair of flat sandals I have never seen her wear before. It might be my eyes fooling me, but I was certain she was a bit worn out, and she lost a bit of weight in just a few days out. Yeah, I cleared my throat, relieved to finally see her here before me. For the first time since I know her, I want to let go of this feeling of being not able to feel, of appearing strong and solitary. I want her to see that I wanted to be here where she was. Moreover, I want to be where she was, be a part of whatever goes in her thoughts. Only I didn't know how to tell her that. I asked the guy at the shop and told me you'd be here. Probably. She let out a faint smile and pursed her lips. Look at her feet. Shy. I told him where I should be so he could tell you. How do you know that I would find you? She looks up, containing her smile, and my heart went over with the words she said next. I just do. Later on, she asked me if I could walk with her around the wards and said she wants me to talk to someone. I didn't know what she was talking about, but I kept silent. I normally come here every week, every Wednesday since last May. She said to me as we passed through the halls. Unlike the scenes below, the people up here are calmer, and seeing glimpses of patients in every open ward we've passed on to. It only occurred to me now that we are in a public unit. Why? She kept her head down. It's just a weekly checkup. Before it's a monthly one. But now it has been, well, frequent. I felt my forehead knitting. What for? This time she looked up to me. Her eyes were a myriad of emotions as we stepped in a bigger ward than the others. Come, I'll let him tell you. A kind-looking man came out of the ward, smiled at her, and stared at me amusingly. She introduced me to the man as Dr. Howard, and she told him to tell me it. The doctor coughed uncomfortably. I want to ask straight away what was this all about, but there's something in the doctor's eyes that got me keeping my words to myself. Evan excused herself and Dr. Howard let me inside the room. The room is equipped with a lot of apparatuses, transparent glasses, and there were computers somberly lighting in and out amongst the tables. He coaxed me to sit down as we reached his table. As soon as I sat, he respectfully asked me my discretion in regards to Evan's request, and that he doesn't usually do this. What do you mean? I heard myself asking him. The silence inside the room went still, and his voice, as well as the truth, dawned on me. He turned on one of the bigger monitors beside his desk and showed me something that he talked me through it, something that took away the little serenity left on me.